Oh yeah. So how are you this morning, Mark?
Hey, very good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Love the log cabin there. I especially love that 1990s landline phone that you got there behind you. Send telegrams with that thing.
I don't know. I've got all this tech around me, but yet I'm
I
still
know.
not settled on the 911 tech. If they need me, I need to have it on a landline, not rely on a cell. So that's kind of the reason.
How boomer of you. Um, and speaking of the tech, that's why you're here. We're here with Mark Tennant, my good friend. Again today, you subbed for Merle a couple years ago. We had a
Yeah.
great podcast then. Mark Tennant is a tech guy. I don't know how to introduce you. Do you have an introduction for you?
I'm just a guy that just loves all this stuff and especially what we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
So they say everything is you have to stack your talents on top of each other. So I'm a talent stacker trier. So that's maybe what you could call me.
You are a tech guy, and you've done tech for Case, Western Reserve University for years. And anyways, welcome to Over 50, starting over, everyone. And we're going to talk about Chat GPT again, but we want to put it in very relatable terms for you. Um, More of the definition of what's going on with these are called LLMs, large language models. Is that
Yep.
correct?
That's correct.
And how you can use it for yourself. We often talk about taking a career turn of your choice at this point in our lives, because I believe you should be doing what you want to do at this point in your life. And this can help you in a variety of ways. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to tell you, Mark, that yesterday I was working on creating a new brand for a client, pardon me, and logo and slogan in particular. And I was like, hey, man, I got to experiment with the AI stuff. See how it can enhance, how it can help me. And maybe then I'll tweak it from there. I got nowhere. And it's not the first time I experimented. So logo wise, I forget which of these AI things I was trying to use. I just typed in Google top 10 artwork
Oh,
generators.
yeah, I would just say an AI image generator.
Yeah, I think that's what I put in. My
Hmm.
brain's not working this early right now. And I used a couple, like three of the top three that I could use for free, created some free accounts. I got absolutely nowhere with creating a logo like that. And then for the slogan, I tried Chat GPT, which is, what is the parent? OpenAI is the
Yeah,
parent company. And it's
correct.
openai.com, I believe.
Yeah.
And anybody can go right on there, try Chat GPT for free. And every one of the slogans, okay, so it's for electrical training company, a new
Okay.
division.
Okay.
Every one of these slogans was like, plug in to your great new career, shock this. It was cheesy. Every
Mhm.
one of them was cheesy like that. And I want something that speaks directly. And, I'm going to say that I know that with practice, I've watched YouTube videos of people that are good at using these and the parameters that they're putting in. And it's probably for a paid account. You probably get a lot more control, is my guess, with a paid account. I don't know. But
Actually, for ChatGPT, no. I mean, the only thing that the difference between free and paid is really is your pecking order in line. Like sometimes if you type in what you want to do, what you type in your prompt, as we'll call those, we'll mention that word several times throughout the
mm,
conversation here.
mm,
But you might type in a prompt and you might get a little delay, 5-10 seconds before it starts writing.
yes.
That's about the only really difference between the paid version and
Mm,
the free version. Also, we're GPT-4, which is the
yes.
latest version. We get that, and I don't think they get that on the free version. I think they're getting 3.5.
Oh,
So I think that's really the only difference, though.
I didn't know that. Okay, so let's back up a little bit and let's talk about what are LLMs, Mark.
Well, and I don't want to get too geeky because the
Right.
people really just want to know how to use this, but just
Mhm.
to have a basic understanding of a large language model, essentially what's happened over the last 10 or 15 years is these for lack of a better word, supercomputers, we can call them, but that's probably not technically the right term. But just to put it into some kind of a context, they've been feeding data. I mean, just you name it, every book that's ever been written, including the dictionary, papers, research, just any type of media at all that's been feeding these computers, these large language models to learn exactly how people speak, how people write. And so what it's actually doing this for a chat GPT, when you go in and you ask it a question like, can you create a logo for me for this company? It's an electrical company, it's an educational thing. Can you create maybe some taglines, slogans, those types of things? So really when the language model is actually putting that stuff out, it really is just guessing the next word. That's all it's doing. It's not human. Doesn't have its own mind. All these large language models have done is just learned how we speak, how to just anything about the human speak. I mean, if you ask a question, if you put in how now Brown and have it fill in the blank, it's going to say cow. It's not going to say tomato, right? Because it has learned this over time. So it's just really these big computers, these models that ChatGPT is based off of is just machine learning. And over time, it's learned all this stuff. And as of last fall, it really got good at it. And that's when we just saw, AI tools like ChatGPT take really the world by storm and business by storm, really. That's kind of where we're at. So really, it's just a large computer database that has read millions and millions of data sets, and it guesses what the most logical answer is to a question or anything you have for it. If that
Okay,
makes
let me
sense.
ask you this. If you type in, as I've done, best top 10 AI writing assistants, something like that. I have found that writer, RYTR, pretty much comes at the top of that. How is that different from ChatGPT?
You mean a search engine, the ChatGPT, the difference between the two?
Yeah, between that and writer.
Okay,
I don't know if you're familiar with writer. I'm
I'm not.
throwing a curveball at you there.
I'm not, but I mean, there's tools that just by the dozens every week are coming out,
Uh-huh.
and it's all based off of these large language models, and GPT is what it's actually called. But I can tell you the difference between typing something into a search and typing something into Chat GPT are really two different things.
Okay.
Like Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing or any of the other search engines, when you go to types, to search for something, you're looking for a piece of information. Where with Chat GPT, I mean, you could tell it to write in a certain tone, in a certain voice, the audience is, who you're speaking to, and it can tailor the content you're asking it to give to that particular demographic, if you will, to that particular way of speaking, to that particular way of, people want to consume your content and what they want to read and how they want to read it. So and I'll show some demonstrations
Mm-hmm.
here in a little bit, but it's really, you're getting information out of a search engine, but ChatGPT really helps you do your job a lot better. And we'll also
Mm.
talk about how that happens. And it takes a whole lot of I don't want to say creativity out of it because that's not the word, but all the minutia or whatever that goes into creating what you want to create, it helps you immensely cut that time down, drastically cut that time down by, depending upon the project, it could be hours. It could do something in minutes where it used to take you hours to do. And we'll talk about that. So really the difference between that search engine and this they're two different things. One is just for solely getting information. The other is that maybe doing something with that information so you can, use it in your business or create content with it or whatever it is you want to do with it.
Okay, and I just want to lay some groundwork here that we are talking about using this as an assistant, and in particular to this audience, how maybe you can make a shift or enhance your own career right now. There's a lot of fear right now, a lot of fear about, is AI going to take over the human race? And let's not jump all the way there yet. Now, what I will say about that, if we want to just get all metaphysical about that for a minute, I think that this is inevitably our next evolution, the next evolution of the human race. And I think that we've been just driving for this. I remember saying to Merle a while ago when we had this conversation, I remember when my brother and I got calculators as little kids, and we were enthralled all day with these calculators. And just, oh my God, it makes numbers. And if you could type it, put it upside down, it looks like it's saying hello, you know? And then we got Pong on our little black and white TV, and everybody in the neighborhood came over to want to play with this. We are enthralled with technology. We always have. You know, people now race out for the latest smartphone. When we were kids, could you imagine if somebody actually tried to convince you that we would have these smartphones in 20, 30, 40 years or whatever? You couldn't, you would not believe it. You absolutely couldn't even wrap your head around it. We didn't even have the language to talk about it at that point. So we're enthralled with this. And I do believe that as humans, that we're still, life still is based upon, life in general is based upon eating each other. That's how primitive we are right now. I think that when I think about things in those terms, I think it sounds very, very primitive. And I think that our next evolution is going to be more of a self-sustaining thing. We're not going to be having to worry about energy anymore, food supply, and things like that. I think that we're going to merge with technology. So, but we're not there yet. Lex Friedman. Do you know Lex Friedman's podcast? He's a robotic engineer. He's got a
Yeah.
very popular podcast. He's a
Mhm.
super smart guy. It's a good podcast. He was talking about this, and he's a coder and a robotic engineer. And he says, look, all it's doing is help it, like the calculator helped us do math. He goes, this is helping us coders code 10 times faster and more efficiently.
Absolutely.
And you might even make the comparison of the typewriter to the PC, maybe. You know, this is just another jump. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. So how can we use this as a jump in our careers? I hadn't thought this one through, Mark. I'm kind of throwing another curveball at you, but what would you do? Can you think of some existing careers right now that should, people our age, that should get on ChatGPT or a large language model and use it to assist them in writing and creating content?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you write in any kind of a way in your job, and I don't mean writing like articles or anything like that. I mean, if you write white papers, if you write just memos, if you summarize meetings, if you if you do anything from an administrative point of view, it could cut down it could cut down your increase your productivity,
Increase,
cut
yeah.
down and cut down the time in doing something like that. If you're an author, it could write a book for you, and we're going to talk about that here in just
Yeah,
a
I've
little bit.
thought a lot about that. Yeah.
And what's nice about it's great at structuring because it knows how a book is structured.
It does. It'll
If
generate
you're
the table of contents for you and everything. Yeah.
if you're a songwriter, it can help you. If you're struggling with a line or words and you've got a basic idea, you can feed it into ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what the song's all about. I'm having a problem with this particular paragraph, this bridge. Can you help me? Yeah, sure. Now it's
I want to pause you for a second there. Somewhere on a podcast that listen to a lot of them, obviously, but they're talking about somebody wrote several songs, said do it in the style of Drake. I don't really know who Drake is,
Yep.
and they said it really
was
sounds like him. It came out like his style and everything.
it started charting.
It did. I
It did.
didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's when they took it down a few days later because it started charting. Yeah.
Dude, that just blew my mind.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
a whole new level there.
but for folks our age and
Yeah.
starting over and maybe wanting to do something and taking advantage of this, anything that you have to come up with from a creative standpoint, to write or ideate about something or an idea that you have, I mean, it can just provide everything you need. It is actually absolutely crazy. I'll give you a couple of just real world examples coming up where me personally with losing weight and dieting and exercising. Now I know that's not a career. It's not talking about a career.
We talk about it a lot on here. It's about getting better a little bit better every day. So please divulge.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I'll show you what it created for me. It was amazing.
Cool.
And if you're in customer service is another big area where
Huge.
AI is going to take over. And now it's really fairly easy. If you have a company with your own data, you can actually build your own chat GPT at your office in your business, and it's off of the API, which is the program interface with chat GPT. So your stuff would sit on, your stuff would sit on top of it. And it would be proprietary to you, and it wouldn't be out there like it is when you go to the website now. That's another thing we got to talk about. About as far as the security thing goes, you don't really want to put any of your personal information, and everything's kind of general. Like if you're doing your resume writing, it rewrites your resume or cover letter, but you don't put your personal information in there, just everything in your resume, and have it write a cover letter for you. It's unreal what it can do. So
that's really interesting. I'm going to want you to, if you could, take us through a little bit of demonstration on that, because I think that's something everybody listening could use. Is resumes are daunting, people just struggle with them. But I'm sorry I interrupted, but I do want to, I think we should come back to that. And your dieting thing.
So
going.
Well, like I said, the dieting thing and the exercise program and everything it did for me, we'll talk about, I'll show you what it did with that. And then actually just this past weekend, I helped a friend of mine redo her resume and cover letter for a job she's applying for.
That's so cool.
There's no I don't have any of her personal information in here. And so and when you show it on screen, you won't know who it is, but it really rewrote the cover letter. Is remarkable, unbelievable what it came up with, and it did it in less than 30 seconds.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see this.
So it's, so people starting over, and even in self-improvement, anything you want to learn, anything you want to do, this thing, I mean, you will, as they say, go down that rabbit hole once you start. But the biggest thing that I wanted to stress in this entire conversation that we're having, Barry, is a whole job, a new career that's going to come out of this is prompt engineering, being able to write the prompts for ChatGPT or even any of the other image generators, which I'm really big into one called Midjourney. It's fantastic. The work I've done in that and the art I've produced is just unbelievable. And somebody like you as a graphic artist, once you wrap your head around it and get going on something like that, it's just amazing what it'll create. That's another career. If you can use these image generators and being able to take your thoughts and your imagination, put them down, and then have this generator create an image of what you want. You could start working on these image generators. Again, they work off of AI, just like ChatGPT does, but it creates from text and image. And you could take those images and just get really better at them and get it to where you want. And you can sell these on Etsy. I mean, you can sell this art anywhere, and it's your own art. So there's all kinds of ways that people our age could take advantage of ChatGPT and Midjourney and DALL-E. It's another image text to image generator that you can start a whole new career on, and it's especially a nice passive income that you can generate using these tools. It's just amazing.
I want to stress something there, capitalize on what you're saying there. Just this morning, I was listening to a podcast that you listen to as well, This Old Marketing, with Joe Pulizzi and Robert Rose. Joe Pulizzi's from Cleveland, the father of Content Marketing Institute, which I believe he sold. Right?
He did so. Yep.
Okay. But I always get some interesting insight on that. This morning they had someone call in and ask about, she's a content creator for different companies. And here's the point. They said, don't try to sell somebody 10 blogs. Sell them the strategy to create 10 blogs. And they're speaking to what you're talking about right now, because you just give them the strategy and say you're going to create it. They're going to be like, okay, thanks. That's all I needed. Bye. Because now they're going to go to ChatGPT and create that. So be the strategist, as you're saying, how did you say it? The prompter?
A prompt engineer. And
a prompt engineer.
I don't want to say I made up that word, but it's really what comes to you when you think of, when you start using these things. Because you do get, when you first start using them, it's, very rudimentary and stuff. And then you start reading other things and looking at YouTube videos and watching how other people are using this and being able to layer their work on top of each other to get to the final product. It's pretty cool. So, I mean, it's just one of these things where you just cannot believe, once you get involved with it and once you start, really, really working with it, then you can start figuring out how to write the prompts, what it likes, what it I wouldn't say doesn't like, because that's not the right word, but using the right words to get the right verbiage down, if you
Mm.
will, and being able to do that. And it's just like saying, like, you could go in and say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. How do I do it? First of all, it'll tell you a basic thing on how to lose 20 pounds, but
Mm.
it really doesn't know your age. It doesn't know your body type. It doesn't know
Ah,
the health you're in. You
but you
have to
could give
tell
it
it all.
those prompt,
You have
right?
to tell it all of that to
Okay,
really, really, and you'll see what I did here with mine.
let's do it.
You really, really have to tell it what you want to be able to get the information that you want. So I can go ahead and
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I couldn't figure that out playing with it. I could figure out how to put one sentence in there, but I saw a video with this guy and I bookmarked it because he was showing us how to feed it for SEO purposes to create content with the keywords that you want to stress and the links in your website. He fed it all this different information, and what it spit out was mind blowing. So
it is
he
something.
really knew what he was doing. He was a prompt engineer for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's going to be a job. Yeah, that will be a job.
Okay, so I want to back up and say that if you go to openai.com, you will then see, I mean, like real quickly, you'll see try GPT for free. And you
Mm.
just click on that and you come to where Mark is at right now.
Yep. So, and then what it is, it's nice here on the left, it saves your sessions. So I can open up this session right now. I don't have to say, this is where we left off. It knows where you left off. And what's nice on the left here, it saves everything that you do. You do have the ability to get rid of this stuff if you want, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can, you can trash it if you want, or you can even edit the name and edit the prompt itself. But once you start a session or a chat session with ChatGPT, it records it over here so you can always go back to it. So this was mine. It said gym workout tips, but that's just what it really kind of
Mm-hmm.
figured out as it was trying to, but you could change the title of it. So let's just go back to the top here real quick. And it was a while. So what I did was I just said, I want to start working out at the gym again. It said, wow, that's great to hear.
Oh
Going to
my
the gym
God.
can have many benefits, including improved physical health, increased energy levels, and reduced stress. Here are some tips to help you get started. Then it gives you some tips. Okay. And this is pretty general, right? This is
But
all
it is, but I'm already kind of mind blown by the fact that the first thing it says, number one, is set realistic goals. Now, that is something that I say on our podcast when Merle and I talk about it, because I think most people, we're all a little too compulsive. Where American society is too compulsive. And so we decide we're going to go to the gym, and that means 2 hours a day, every day. And then, and it's, yeah. And so you stop doing it. It's not sustainable. So I talk about that. Now, how that, so to me, it's almost like it made a decision. How does it know to say that?
well, again, it's this what it's been trained upon for the last 10 or 15 years. These large language models are being taught to
Mm.
with through all the data it just learns these things. So again, when it says I'm pointing, like you can see where I'm pointing, but
Yeah,
here,
keep in mind, most people are listening, but this is
okay,
one particular podcast where, guys, I think you need to go to the YouTube video
it
for
would
that.
help. So there's the general statement. I want to start working out at the gym again, and this is what it produced. Set realistic goals, create a workout plan, start slowly, focus on proper form, and stay motivated. Okay, that's pretty general. We all kind of know that.
It's
So I
good
got a little,
advice, though.
so oh yeah. So I said, well, I got more specific, and I says, look, I want to lose 20 pounds, work out 3 times a week, and need a plan that targets my big belly and cardiovascular health. And then instantly it came out, boom, to lose 20 pounds and target your belly while also improving cardiovascular health, you want to create a workout plan that combines strength, training, and cardio. And here's an example of a plan for you. So then it gives an example. Warm up for
Wow.
5 to 10 minutes, do some strength training, and it gives you some examples. Do some cardio, cool down. And then it gives you a little bit more information, to target your belly specifically. It's important to remember blah, 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 what it says, 80% diet, 20% exercise. And again, things we've kind of heard before. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, well, that's great. Can you create a weekly workout plan for me? And here it is. It said,
Oh
sure.
my God.
Here's a sample weekly workout plan that includes strength training and cardio to help meet your fitness goals. Day one, full body strength training. And then if you can see it on the screen, warm up, squats, push-ups, lunges, lat pulls, planks, cool down. Cardio, day two, warming, run up, bicycle, Russian twist, leg, whatever. Third day of rest, fourth day, upper strength body training. 5th day, cardio and legs. 6th, rest day. 7th, full body strength training. And it gives you what to do and how long to do it for based on like a 30-minute workout. Well, I'm 65. And
Okay,
as we
right.
talk about this realistic goal thing, yeah, I'm in pretty decent shape, but this is a lot for somebody that's 65.
Yes.
So I said, look, I'm 65 years old. I'm in good health, but that's a lot to do in 1 week. Can you create a plan for me, 65-year-old male who wants to lose 20 pounds and increase strength and stamina?
Can
And it
I ask you
says,
something, Mark?
sure,
So
sure.
this is like what I'm seeing here. I was wondering for a minute, is if each time you're typing in, is it seeing it for the first time, a brand new conversation? But it's no, you are building it like you're having a conversation with this thing.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about on the side here. It saves these conversations. And when you go back
Okay.
into one, you don't have to go through this again because it already knows what you're talking about and
That's
it
so
remembers.
it's so freaking cool, man.
So then
Uh,
it says,
yeah.
certainly, here's a modified plan for a 65-year-old man who wants to lose 20 pounds. And then it gives a little bit less of a, strenuous workout than somebody for 65 years old.
This is
And
so cool.
it says, resistance training one day and it tells you what to do. Second day, cardiovascular tells you what to do, rest on the 3rd day, and so forth for the week. So it really pared it down to,
Yeah.
again, you're getting better at writing the prompt. It's getting better at learning and understanding what your needs are and what you want. And then also it says at the bottom, remember to adjust the weight and repetitions of your fitness levels and goals. It's also important to add rest days to allow your body time to recover. So it's great. I said, wow, that's actually good. I said, but you know what? I don't work out 7 days a week. I only work out 3 times a week. Can you create an exercise plan on that? And it said, sure. Here's a sample exercise plan that you can complete in 3 days a week. And then it gives you day 1, full body workout, day 2, cardiovascular training, day 3, resistance training. And then you just put that into your week where you can. And then it talks about, yes, adjusting your diet, and it gives you the kind of the basic information. And I said, well, that's great. That's also great. So I said, but there's diet there and there's diet involved. So I said, I kind of want to primarily eat plant-based foods and meals. Can you create a plant-based menu plan? And it says, absolutely. Here is a sample-based menu plan for a week that will provide plenty of nutrients and energy to support your fitness goals. Day 1, breakfast, tofu scramble and mushrooms and spinach, whole grain toast, fresh fruit. Lunch, chickpea salad with mixed greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, and lemon tahini dressing. Dinner, lentil and vegetable soup with whole grain bread. And it does that for every day of the week.
Unbelievable. Where
And
do you
it's,
suppose it's pulling this from?
well, it's again, just all of this, health knowledge that's out there. I mean, how many plant-based cookbooks are there out there
There you
just
go.
alone? And just about people have been talking about plant-based eating for years and years and years.
I just wonder how it prioritizes one over the other, what it's going to pull from.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's guessing what the next logical word is and it's constantly calculating this as it's giving you this answer. It's constantly running formulas to say what would be the next best word in here in breakfast. Smoothie with almond, okay, almond milk. And then, okay, mixed berries seem to be fine, banana and chia seeds. So it just actually, it's always running these mathematical calculations in the background to figure out what's the next best word to give you what you want.
Let me ask you your opinion. So if you decided, you know what, I'm going to put a health-based cookbook together full of recipes and call it my own, and I don't know anything about it. I just know how to use ChatGPT. What are the chances of you getting sued for plagiarism, do you think?
Well, it doesn't. So it doesn't go out and read something on like the internet. So for example, a lot of people, that's a myth I kind of want to quickly dispel. People say, well, these types of things just go out the internet, find the
Yeah.
information, and they just put it on. That nothing could be further from the truth. The last time any of these large language models were ran through the internet was in November of 2021. A lot has happened since November of
That's
2021
a
when
fact.
we record this on April 28th, 2023. So it hasn't even seen the internet since then. So really that information that's on the internet is just a small piece of what this is. Everything is all the information that it has learned. So to answer your question, I don't see how they can, because it's putting words together just like you would. I mean, it almost goes back to the thing, like anything that's ever been written has been plagiarized because it's already been written in the dictionary. So it's kind of, to answer your question, no, unless somebody could come and say, this is directly from my cookbook, you And then here's another thing we all do. Well, I wouldn't see all do, but I'm kind of health conscious, as you are, and you
Mhm.
cook in the kitchen, you do some things. You kind of see a recipe and you kind of make it your own.
Yeah.
And then you maybe write it down to remind yourself what you did. If we're gonna take your cookbook example, let's just say you're good at this and you've wanted to get this down into a cookbook, but it's just so much work putting it together. You could actually start a session here in ChatGPT. If you have these online, it's great, in an electronic form to where you can just copy and paste these recipes into ChatGPT. It'll know what you're doing. Then you could tell it, look, I want to write a book. I want to have sections on meat, vegetables, salads, desserts, whatever it is. These are the recipes I want to use. Plus, think of some of your own, and it will write it all out for you, and it will be
Wow.
really good. And then you go in and you wordsmith it and you tailor it to how you want it to read and to your tone. And then you've got yourself a book. Now, what it can also do is if you're a writer and you write a lot, you could actually feed it some of your articles and it gets your writing style. It learns your writing style.
Oh
So
my God.
when you go to tell it, I want to make a cookbook, and you give it everything in my style of writing, it will write in the style that you typically write in.
Wow, man. It's gonna take me some practice to get the hang of this, but my mind
Well,
is blown. You're teaching me a lot right here. I really appreciate it.
and I hope everybody too. I really hope this is really of value for
It is,
some folks, because I'm
for
telling you,
sure.
it's crazy. So
It is
going back to
crazy.
my diet really quick, I said, okay, what are some protein-rich plant-based foods? And it told me legumes, nuts, and seeds. I know all this. I just
Mhm.
wanted to see what it would do. And then I said, well, I'd like to get down to 190 pounds from 220. How do I do it? And then it says, losing 30 pounds can be challenging, but achievable goal with a consistent approach to diet and exercise. Here are some tips to help you get started. Then it says, create a calorie deficit. We all know that,
Mhm.
take in less than, or, burn more
Mhm.
than you take in, incorporate strength training, include cardiovascular, eat a balanced diet, stay hydrated. Of course, everybody kind of knows that. But then I said, what should my basal metabolic rate be for me? And then it kind of calculated it, so forth. But so anyway, I'm going to go down here.
Basal metabolic rate? What does that even mean?
That's your BMR.
Okay, okay,
It's the
okay. I
number of
didn't know that.
calories. Yeah, it's the number of calories your body burns at rest to support basic functions like breathing, circulation, and digestion.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I said, I'm 66, male, broad build. I want to weigh 190 pounds. How do I do it? And it kind of gave me the same thing it said. And I
Mhm.
said, well, based on that, I want to create a plant-based meal plan to achieve my weight loss goals. And it said, sure. So it kind of gives me for every single day. And here's it stopped right here on the second day. Sometimes it'll do this. And you have to say,
Mm.
okay, can you finish what you started? And I go, oh yeah, sorry, I got distracted or whatever. And it goes ahead and finishes it. Now, here's the best part, Barry. I was thinking to myself, I said, I love these, but what I love the menus, but what are the recipes to these things you're recommending? And it wrote out all the recipes,
Oh my God.
the ingredients, the how to do it. Tofu scramble with spinach and mushrooms gives you all the ingredients. Drain and crumble the tofu into small pieces. Heat the olive oil in a nonstick pan. It wrote all of it out, and it did it for every single meal it gave me. Every single
It
meal,
is amazing to me that it understands what you're referencing.
and here's a mixed berry oatmeal with chopped nuts. 1/2 cup rolled oats. Okay, you know what I mean? It's so it did all of that, and then finally, the last thing I said, after all these meals it created for all 7 days, it took a little bit to write this out. I mean, it was quick to figure it out and do it. It just took a while to write it out because you're writing recipes
Mhm.
for 21 different dishes, and it
Mhm.
took about a minute or two to do it.
A
And it was
whole minute or 2? I thought you were gonna say, like, couple hours.
no, 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 nothing like that.
Wow.
So then I finally said to it, um, after we get back here, the last thing I said, you know what? All of this is great, but I need to remember to go to the store and what I should get. Can you create a shopping list of the
Oh my
ingredients?
god.
And it sure did. It
Oh
said
my
produce, and
god.
it broke it out by produce, pantry,
Oh,
refrigerated items, bakery, and frozen.
that that's so handy. Oh
And
my
I said,
god.
is this all for 7 days? And it said, yep, the shopping list includes ingredients for all of the recipes in the 7-day plant-based meal plan I provided. So
Wow.
yes,
Dude, my mind's blown. I don't even know what to ask you. I'm seriously, my mind is blown,
I, I was too. I
and when I was messing with it yesterday, telling you, trying to get help with the logo and slogan, I now see first of all, like I told you, it just kept coming up with these corny slogans.
Hmm.
Shocked me. Well, I guess I just need to have a conversation with it and say,
That's
I don't want corny, corny slogans. I want to be to the
exactly.
point. I want to be to this audience. I didn't do that. Yeah, I'm gonna revisit it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and 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 I also give a website out. It's called Prompt, snackprompt.com. I think that's what it is off the top of my head. And there are people that um they actually put up their prompts that they're writing for you to
Ah,
learn off of. So it's kind of a sharing prompt site. So you can
cool.
see how other people, and you can copy their stuff and you can put it into your ChatGPT and you can see what it produces. And then of course, if it's something you like, you can kind of massage it yourself. So it's really a nice little it's a really nice little site. It is called Snack Prompt, SNACK prompt.com, all one word. And again, for the different, if you're a mid-journey person, meaning image, text to image creation,
Mhm.
it has those prompts, ChatGPT prompts, it has it all in there. So it's a
Oh,
nice little website to start learning how to write prompts with. Now let's go to really quickly, Barry, to my friend who I wrote her resume and cover
yeah.
letter on. This was just actually on Sunday this happened. So I surely hope this doesn't people out there are not sensitive to it, but I used to work in the research world, and my friend still does, and particularly in the animal research world, but it's mostly mice
Mm,
and rats.
mm,
It's research. So she
mhm,
works in research and she wanted to apply for a new job. And in this case, it's an office manager for this research lab, if you will.
mhm.
So I said, you are to act as an employer who runs a research facility at a major university. You're hiring a business office supervisor, which was the title of the job, who needs experience working in a resource center and would like to read. I would like you to read a resume and job description, rewrite the resume, and create a cover letter using keywords found in the job description. Do you understand? And then it says, yes, I understand. As an AA language model, I am capable of performing this task. Please provide me with a resume and job description to get started. It almost sounded like C3PO talk there.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I said, here's the job description. And then I just pasted it, copy and pasted it in. And here's the job description and how many, the percentage of times you'll be doing these essential functions and so forth, and different contacts, the qualifications, the required skills, and work conditions and so forth. And I said, there's the job description. It said, thank you for that. Now, based on the description, I can create a sample resume and cover letter. However, I need to clarify if you want me to create a fictional resume or one you'd like me to use an existing resume for reference to rewrite. So I actually sent it her resume. I fed it into
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT and it said, okay, thanks for providing a resume. Based on the job description, I've rewritten the resume to highlight the candidate's qualifications for the business office supervisor position at the Animal Resource Center. So there it goes. It says what her education was, her training, her where she worked, what she did, and all of this is based on the job description to make it stand out. And then so the person reading it going, oh wow, this could fit, this could fit. Now this is the one that really blew me away. Here is the cover letter. Dear hiring manager, of course, you put whoever that is. I am excited to apply for the position of business office supervisor at the Animal Resource Center. With over 15 years of experience in laboratory animal science, I believe that I have the necessary qualifications to excel at this role. Then it says, as my current position, I've gained experience doing this. And then it says, in my extensive experience with all kinds of things and training and certifications, I'm qualified. It stopped for a second. I said, can you finish the cover letter? And it said,
Mhm.
sure. And it really wrote
Why why did it stop and how did you
sometimes it does. I couldn't even tell you that. Maybe
just
it's just
through
so,
experience, you just recognize that this does that sometimes and you tell it to please finish it.
yeah, keep going. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it wrote this cover letter out, and then finally it said, I am confident that my skills and experience make me a strong candidate for the business office supervisor position. Thank you for considering my application sincerely. Now you could take that and add your own words to it and so forth, but for a literally less than a 2-minute task,
Yes.
it wrote all of this out for it. And then you just copy and paste it and put it into a Word document and, again, wordsmith it a little bit. And
Mind
also
blowing.
you also have to check your accuracy too.
Mm.
They're not 100% right. They're, 96, 97, 98, 99% right most of the
Mm.
time. But you really do have to, and this is where the human part comes in with
Mhm.
AI. It needs to be checked and balanced. And the
Mhm.
human at this point is the only one that can do that. I would imagine AI will probably be able to do that in some point in the future, but you still need to create and have that human aspect of your work. And that's what I always think about in the back of my mind. Yes, this helps
Okay.
me. It's very productive. It writes for me, but you've got to go through everything and make it your own and maybe add some things that didn't add. But it certainly, decreases the time for you to do something like
Mhm.
that and makes you more productive, in doing so. So
This is so helpful, Mark. Here's a good one for you. A good question for you. Titles of things online are the most important thing. So whether it's your blog post or maybe a podcast, how can this thing? I'm terrible at it, by the way, because I've listened to podcasts in the past of people that are really excel at it, that are famous blog writers and stuff, and they'll always say you got to do 40 titles for
okay.
a one blog. And because you're not even getting close to a good one until after you're in your 20s, 20 versions. How can I use this to help me come up with titles for, say, this podcast?
Let's do it.
Yes.
So let's tell
Can't wait.
ChatGPT, I have a podcast. Well, we'll just say my friend Barry. My friend Barry has a podcast where he helps folks over the age of 50. Complete the sentence for me. What do you do?
Get just a little bit better every day, personally and professionally.
So I'll just stop there and let it say, oh, that sounds like a great podcast. It's always helpful to have resources and guidance when trying to make personal and professional improvements, especially for those who are over 50 and may be facing difficult challenges than younger individuals. What kinds of topics does Barry cover on his podcast?
This is mind blowing. You're having a conversation with this thing. See, I would not have known to start with just that basic premise. I would have tried to go from A to Z all in one sentence.
So it's retirement and finances, we'll say,
Okay.
is
How
one.
about why don't you actually go real on this one and
Okay.
say, we just did a podcast on how to utilize ChatGPT.
And what do you want to know?
What should we call it? The title.
Oh,
What should the title be?
okay. We just did a podcast. How do you? Okay, right.
What would be a catchy title?
To
Enhance your career.
enhance their career
Mhm.
and make more money. So it says that. So we're telling it. So it's learning this right now. It's okay. I
Yes.
got it. So then it says, great to hear. As a language model, I can provide a wealth of information on a wide variety of topics. So it says you can I can rewrite your resume, help you with your job search. Should do some networking, skill development, salary negotiation. Okay, that's all pretty general. Then
Mhm.
let's just say we want to come up with a title that really captures the essence of the topic of helping people over 50 get better personally and professionally every day. Can you help us come up with, we'll say, 20 titles for the episode? And it'll go, sure, here are 20 possibilities.
Jesus, look at that. Oh my God, Mark.
So then you can just read them. Age is just a number. Using ChatGPT to excel in your career. Starting over 50, tips and tricks for personal and professional growth. Elevate your career, how ChatGPT can help those over 50. Reimagining your career, using ChatGPT to create a brighter future. Beyond 50, how ChatGPT can help you reach new heights in your career. And then you could go, well, those are just, those are pretty general, I can say. Can you be more specific? And then we'll go, share.
Oh my God.
And then mastering the art of career transitions, how ChatGPT can help you start over at 50. Maximizing your job search, navigating career changes, and it gives you 20 of them. The power of positive thinking, how ChatGPT can help you cultivate a mindset of growth and resilience in your career after 50. So, I mean, there you see it. This is, and how long did it take us to do this? Just minutes.
Yeah.
Seconds.
Oh my God. My mind's blown. But I'm gonna thank you again because I was playing with it and getting nowhere, and now I know why, because I never thought I could really evolve a conversation with it like that.
You talk to it exactly like you
Yes.
would talk to a human. Yep.
God, mind is blown. Seriously.
um,
Um, maybe we should start wrapping up. I really
yep.
do
Yeah, no
within
worries. Yeah.
I really do it within 15 minutes have to, and if I can get out sooner, that'd be good too. Um, and I just wonder if there's anything else that you want to cover that people would find helpful. Seriously, my mind is so like blown right now that I can't even think of what to ask you.
Well, I came up with, I've got to get my windows here. There we go. So I had kind of an outline and some things I wanted to go over with you. And I think we did a lot. First of all, I do want to say, thank you if you're watching, and especially if you got anything out of this. I hope you can use this and any of the other AI tools to really enhance your career, make a little money. And I know the first time I saw something like this, boy, the wheels started turning. And I would
Yes.
imagine, I hope that's happening with you. So what I'm actually going to do based on the podcast and a gift to the listeners, if anybody wants to subscribe, I'm going to take our conversation, I'm going to take my outline for the presentation, and I'm going to feed it into ChatGPT, and I'm going to have it write an ebook of how people over 50 can get started using ChatGPT, and it will create the title, it will create the table of contents, and it'll create the content in it based on everything that's happened here in these last few minutes. So that's one thing we're going to do, and you'll get to see
Huge.
how real it really, it really worked. And the second thing is, you start using this as quick as you can, please. And the last thing I want to address is the fear factor and the myths and so forth.
Yes.
First of all, and it was funny. I said to last night as I was preparing, I said to ChatGPT, listen, tell me about all of the false rumors and explain what ChatGPT actually does and what it doesn't do. So it came up with this. It said AI will replace, this is one of the theories it debunked. AI will replace all human jobs. And it says, while it has the potential to automate certain tasks, it takes humans to focus on more complex, creative, and strategic aspects of your job. And then it says AI is infallible. It is not perfect. It tells you, it goes, I'm anything but perfect. And he goes, it's essential. This is ChatGPT telling you this.
Oh, he's messing with you, man. He's taking over. He's taking over.
It's essential to treat AI generated content as a starting point and validate its accuracy before relying on it. Then it says AI can think and feel like humans. And then it says that could be anything further from the truth, because he goes, we don't have emotions or have consciousness. He goes, I don't feel or think anything. He goes, I'm just a natural language processor. He says, I am not a sentient being, meaning I'm not human. AI will become controllable. And he says, while AI systems can become more efficient over time, they're ultimately designed and controlled by humans. Ensuring responsible development and implementation of ethical guidelines can help mitigate potential risks, because there are going to be the bad people out there who won't use it for good, probably nefarious things. And, AI can understand everything you're saying, like in the background. It's not like listening to you.
I'm not sure I believe that.
Well, and that's maybe a whole nother conversation for another, but it just doesn't have that capability to do something like that. So, respect the tech, but respect your own, don't rely on 100% what it says. Again, when you have it do something for you, you need to go through it and make sure it's accurate and make sure it's in your voice. It's just a tool to help you become more productive, ideate, create, help you do all of these things in a much faster time, and again, with more productivity.
All right, back to the ebook. And you said you can subscribe. Where do people get the ebook? Where do they subscribe? Do you want me to put it on over50startingover.com or on your?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we could just start, right there on the website.
Sure.
And when I
Sure.
get this done, I'll get it over to you here sometime within the week. And excuse me.
Okay.
Within the week, and then you can go ahead and put that up, and anybody that sees this podcast and stuff will be able to probably click there within the episode and be able to download it.
Okay. And so I'm going to let you guys know, anybody listening to this, that I will send this ebook, the link to it, to the over50startingover.com email list. So if you subscribe, you will get it when it is available within a week.
Yep.
over50startingover.com. Spell that out and get all this into your email box as it happens. Mark, I thought this was super valuable. I really enjoyed it. Not blowing smoke. You blew my mind with this. And I can't wait to put this into practice and do it right, because I was not doing it right yesterday. Not at all.
We're all learning. I'm only 7 months into this journey and by no means an expert, but you get better every time you do it. So just everybody out there, just keep pushing.
Jump in. So it's at openai.com and you'll see. And was your what you showed us, is that all free or do you have a subscription?
I'm in the paid plan. It's $20 a month. And you see how fast everything produced. Like if I was on the free plan, first of all, I also was on the 4.0 version I've used for this one. It's a little more robust than the 3.5, but it's still pretty killer, the 3.5. So that's kind of the difference. I was running 4.0 and it ran a little bit faster than maybe it would be on the free side. But by no means do you have to sit there for 10 minutes and wait for an answer. I mean, it's pretty quick.
My understanding, though, is that 4.0 is a lot more robust than 3.5. Is that correct?
It is. And I can tell you the geek reason why, but nobody cares. It works better.
All right, buddy. With that, I'm going to have to get going. I really, really appreciate it. And maybe let's see what the feedback's like. Maybe we'll have a follow-up to this, because I have so many questions. I would love to get into a metaphysical conversation about it, but perhaps another time.
Let's have some pops later in the week and we'll do that.
All right. Sounds great. All right, folks. Have a good weekend.
You too.